and being more able at what is necessary, such as identifying the better possible future, is an evolutionary trait considering the fact you won't evolve without it because you may not possess a virgin mind. Moving forward, it's the small things you need, but the big things that crush. The big things don't need to crush us. They can be replaced without, or consequentiality gives us God's punishment. God's punishment is our unwillingness to stop what's taking our minds from ourselves. Mind taken by wastes of time that are harmful situations that have been brewing for a while now. A while long enough to know it's wrong for certain. But it started before you were born. It's not your fault that people terrorize, allowing us to live in fear. That's why you're happy accepting death. The odds of stopping it decrease by the second, although the need to stop it increases by the millisecond. Drinking coffee is popular because it's anti-mutagenic. Those who don't want to notice the problems use coffee to ignore. Whatever you do with the coffee, it isn't the coffee that hurts you, it's only a cup of joe. Coffee allowing you to vasoconnect opposed to the constriction isn't what's burning you out. The instinct that comes from the pull of a job excluding other sources is draining you. This world is a drain, admit it. So coffee cuts you off from outer sources, soliciting to your ability to decide. But those pulls aren't gone, so it drains you anyways. You're drained full time beyond possibility of recovery. Giving an effect that is enough to slip from the grasp while continuing to hang on to not reach blindly, taking more from the pile of the too many dangerous options tempting everyone? Meaning the dangerous options aren't dangerous enough to scare the super sober man and woman who aren't bothered to tolerate the nonsense. Your sobriety has accumulated ignorance as your only option. They've accumulated the strength of letting the world pass by them without consciously requiring the need to be a pacifist or passive-aggressive. They claim the wisest path because we aren't quitting everything or anything. But they are liars knowing they are or not. The end. I drink black coffee only once for the day, one serving however big or small. To heat up another cup or keep filling it up makes you a coffee drinker failure. It changes you once a day, not twice. If you drink a pot, drink it all at once before it's cold or you are double dosing. Double dosing is never necessary. And remember, it isn't a food or drug. It's defined as a food because it lets you use yourself more, or in other words, you become a psychoactive in their own psychoactivity from the psychoactive substance that lets you notice the same day you are in every morning until it changes through you and us. Eventually us. Using coffee to remember you become hungry, you can prepare to gather the foods that let you function better. Arm yourself with available options to try and beat the game. Drugs don't do this. I exercise first before a cup or prefer to. In order to be the most correct, I don't need coffee as I recognize the problems and would stop them this moment with the authority. That's why when I assume coffee to be good for me, I drink one bag of coffee at a time, quarter bag to a full bag, throughout time per morning. Then when the bag is done with, I let it go. I don't buy another bag until it's my next spree or streak of drinking coffee. Same with dark chocolate, but that has a different stats to it. Then I let it go for different possibilities may remain without drinking it. I let it go because there's different possibilities that remain without drinking it. It lets me detect the anti-mutagenia in the world if I need to more than I already do. Not prioritized as a species, humans find coffee as a mental induction bridge into yourself. As the ties we've linked ourselves to leads to dead ends, coffee gives you another chance that you already have. It's just helping you notice. Are you excited to drink a cup of coffee? Remember, coffee being a problem is correct, but that's not the point, as coffee isn't the problem. Obligations don't let you drink coffee to be an induction into yourself. The desire for the possibility of you, however you may occur, is impossible in so many ways with too many problems supporting obligations. You should get it by now. Are those obligations necessary to reach yourself? No. You only need what you need, plus a cup of coffee to see. Drinking a cup of coffee, having already let go of the poles of unnecessary obligations. Look at an infant. It has a virgin mind, and a virgin mind doesn't possess yet the ability to decide. Where does growth lead from the ability to decide? The best decisions leading to not aging into a geriatric state, to stray from obvious declines. So what if the virgin mind is what you are trying to assume? Regardless of you saying no, that's not what I'm doing, because the virgin mind is what you will never have again. Adults may become envious of children, but don't look at your baby this way. It isn't real. Doing something and saying you're not because you don't see that you are is using facts to lie about facts. Something else to think about. Now that you're caught, let's assume the virgin mind of a baby left alone after enough milk to drink in a wilderness all alone with the planet to oneself. Mammals and reptiles are subject to the temperature. This virgin mind is eating whatever because it's human, and an omnivore can find food almost anywhere, enough to stay alive at least. Taste buds eat what it wants and needs. Remember, the virgin mind hasn't stressed yet, so it has no concept of death from starvation. Its idol is pure innocence. But the temperature subjugation of a living body will end its virginity. Unless you think of something that doesn't happen out of accident, natural occurrence. Whenever that happens, it becomes born again by the freeze or hot. This child is no longer a virgin mind, having its first priority to flee from the hot heat or freezing cold. Stopping there, drinking a cup of coffee, knowing it is a hard rock being that covers the jungle ground as if stones, is an obvious statement. A statement from the spirit of the coffee plant. Easy to figure out what it's saying to reduce its green bean effect to a char, making it a trace amount of its request. The coffee spirit's request is suggesting to you it isn't a drug or a food, but acts as a bind breaker. You, a human spirit, teaming with the coffee plant spirit, finding coffee shuts you down just enough that it sensitizes you instead of harms you as drugs do. And what are we sensitized most to living in peace, assuming the virgin mind? Hot and cold. Drinking coffee without a meal will allow you to cool, warm, overheat, or freeze a lot quicker. Wait, but sensitize means feel more, so how does feeling do this quicker? Scientists say caffeine releases cortisol, describing the replacement of adrenaline. That's what they said years ago. Now it's adenosine. Adrenaline is what pumps the heart to sufficiently spread plasma throughout to the needed regions of the body. That duration of less adrenaline doesn't acclimate you accordingly to the immediate weather. Remember, the body rejects the coffee while accepting it. Acceptance is proven by it activating the appendix. I don't know why they let you figure out what the appendix does all by yourself. Now, if you drink coffee and the weather is absolutely perfect, then you are sensitized to feel something else but the weather to oblige yourself to something. That involves brain usage. Notice I spend time outdoors. Those who don't want coffee like the pole that keeps them active. The perturbation of coffee is only a slight upset you use to initiate the panic you need. But blaming coffee as a problem in the world because of it perturbing you is only confusing its perturbation with it not meeting your comfort requirements. We don't have virgin minds and need to stay aware of the problems at hand. The problems at hand do not meet your comfort requirement. Your comfort requirements are based on not being aware of the problems. Without the problems, your comfort requirements are met. Wait, but you drink coffee and don't notice the problems at hand, which deceives some and to believe there are no problems in the world. Maybe they're lying. No, you drink coffee because you drink coffee and are doing something else with your energy other than remaining aware of the problems at hand. So hey prick, don't be happy to chug your justified coffee. Enjoy the fact it's allowing you to do what it is you do with it. Is this me trying to justify coffee by claiming it isn't a drug? No, this is me explaining that coffee isn't a source of problems, as I do remain able to notice the positive and negative effects that don't come from coffee. Something in you is activated and you become aware of something you'd otherwise not notice without the coffee. And problems wear anyone out with it in mind. Coffee has an oil to it. While it's a charged solid bean, the oil is probably what the body rejects for it to cause the pause transitioning into the adjustment. I like to eat an apple or a couple of oranges for I assume it clears the thin layer of oil that is possibly there after the moistures are absorbed. But I have to teach you how to eat an apple or orange in a future video. If you don't eat apples or oranges, don't, especially apples. Just please confess there are big problems first. Chlorogenic acid is probably what clears the stomach of anything good or bad it's got in there. I know for certain that if I'm bodily active all morning into the afternoon, I won't drink coffee because it is then not utilizable. Full day of activity emptying myself to the point it is set to receive naturally. The all-day exertion has replaced the way my body would exert with coffee. The coffee isn't a benefit when I don't need help with endurance to endure the hours without. Coffee as a spirit from the plant with you as a creative process assistant is on your side, wanting anti-mutagenic pathways as that is the reason for the creative process at its core. Coffee also helps you unleash an emotional feeling from inside. Back to reality emotions that seem to be the victory against the mutagens. The thankful emotion of feeling better, the emotion that allows you to be connected with what's possible. Anti-mutagenic fluid that allows you to be content for a moment if you are in the position you don't want to be. That's us. I'm believing my own theory. While coffee being anti-mutagenic, the anti-mutagenic effect is leading me to where I will not possess mutagens. They say it stunts growth. Yeah, it ends bad growth. Let your child fight without coffee, as they have less of everything calling them out. Later, weighed down by it, coffee can help them remember their youthful immunity. By staying aware of mutagenia with every dose of an anti-mutagenic stimulant, by that effect I am led to a mutagen-free existence. That's if I make it there or meet my end by the slower death of trying to be anti-mutagenic. Are you with me? How do we get to the promised land from the whisper of one spirit we named coffee? Catch the rhyme. If I'm drinking coffee, I have music on. I embrace a good song as I sip to what's on. The awareness required to hear the music increases with coffee-inducing thought. That's the brain activating it used is on. Who stops their brain still has dream and sleep, used or not, it continues to call you out to use it. Your brain is used either way. It wants you to use it. Why not begin? Coffee helps that. Most of us don't achieve clear thinking and homeostasis regulation simultaneously, but these are the two things I described coffee doing before I looked up the current scientific explanations we receive on search engines. With that to think, here's another thought to leave you with. It seems as if privilege itself tricks our own bodies into assuming productivity, assuming success and a safe feeling to be fact. Privilege is used or it can spoil. Tricked by privilege, we intuitively cut off the tie of it. Then you see what privilege is for. And so we have wisely made a coffee a popular something to reach for. Remember, when you run into problems, although it can be, it ain't the